Are rolling. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the morning show on Stock Market TV. Spencer, JC, Steve, Alfonso with you this morning. What are we talking about? Let's take a look at the doc. Some Meta, probably, right? Some Caterpillar, maybe this morning. Interesting M&A headline in the metals and mining space. Want to discuss that as well. New guest on the show, Frances Horodelski. She'll be on in about a half hour or so. So we're excited to talk to her. And that's the rundown. So good morning, chat. Jason, Dawson, Mary, Jonathan, James, Joe, Kaz, Peter, T-Man. Hope I didn't miss anybody. If I did, I apologize. But let's get the show on the road here.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. We can get into the face plant now in a couple of minutes, but I just want to point out before we get into see what I did there. I want to point out here's the problem with Jason Tatum. He's just not a killer. He's not a killer. He's a great ball player. He's an excellent regular season basketball player. So many tools, can shoot from the outside, sweet stroke, can drive. You know, he's long. He can play decent defense. He's a great player. He's not a killer. At least he hasn't shown that he's a killer yet. And I like the guy. I mean, I hate Boston, but I like the guy. Like, I almost want to see the killer come out of him, just not against Miami. I just wanted to point that out. Like, coming in the playoffs, in the fourth quarter, if you're going to be the superstar, you need to be a killer. And he's just not, or at least not yet. Just my observation.
The greatest athletes, when it's playoff time or clutch time, you could like see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
Brady had it. Jordan had it. Kobe had it. They're like possessed.
Yeah, but even Dwayne Wade, like, you know, you don't even have to go to that extreme of goatness. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's Tatum hasn't shown that. Now, granted, he's a baby still. He's 26? So that could still come out. I hope it does. I hope it's not this serious.
Is it fair to say the Miami Heat are like the Apple of the NBA? Like, sometimes they underperform, but like at the end of the day, they're inevitable. You know, like you just can't really stop it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about all that, but right. I like it's good effort though, for effort.
That was a stretch. I'll admit that was a bit of a stretch.
Also talking about Anthony Edwards. Now that guy's got the killer. You can see that in his eyes, right? You see the difference? You see the difference?
I didn't watch the game, but I did look at the box score, and they shot ridiculously from downtown and still only won by 10 points. So I think that also kind of tells you they're mismatched. They're outmatched in this matchup. Unfortunately.
Yeah, yet they still won on the road with no Jimmy Butler and no Rozier.
It's early.
But you can't shoot like that every night.
They better. All right, hit it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Just wanted to point that out. All right, so I think let's just do a quick little rundown, and then we'll get into Facebook incinerating hundreds of billions of dollars overnight. Yep. You got the Dow futures down 350 points this morning, a full percent to the downside. By the way, Meta is not even in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You got the S&P 500 futures down again a full percent, 50 handles, back below 50-60 on the S&P. NASDAQ 100 futures off to a great start this morning, down 230 points. That's 1.3% for the NASDAQ 100. Shout out to those tech investors out there. Bonds down again, surprise, surprise. Below 114 as the slow grind lower in the bond market continues as interest rates keep popping up. Gold flat this morning. Silver up 0.25%, 27.5. Copper, hello, up 2% this morning, holding that 4.5 level. Crude oil above 83, up 0.5%. Dollar mixed in early trading. The volatility index back up towards 16.5, guys. And the old funny money getting hit somewhat as well. So you've got Bitcoin down 260 points, 64,000 For Bitcoin, you've got Ethereum down 0.5%, 31.25, and Solana 145 down 2% on the day. And total crypto market cap, Spencer Israel below 2.3, all the way down to $2.29 trillion. Before we get into the face plant, how do we feel about these futures this morning? Anything stand out?
Well, we just had our first GDP print for Q1.
They still do that?
Lower than estimates.
Oh, that's why.
GDP?
Yeah, it's the gross domestic product. It's like the sum of all parts, right?
So gross. GDP. Get
anyway,
out of here with your GDP.
All
like
right.
This country's GDP?
Yeah. America.
Alleged GDP.
It's a measure
because we know that number is definitely going to be accurate, right?
It's a measure of a country.
That's why they revised it twice. They revised it again in May and then again in June.
Of course they will.
Great. Anyway, can we throw up my Solana chart? This is what needs to happen for crypto to experience its next leg up, and
this is what I'm talking about. You see, Strazza, you see why I love you? You go from GDP straight to the Solana. Like this is what makes this show great. You see? You get rid of the nonsense. You mentioned that it happened. We already forgot. Back to the shit coins. Let's go.
This is your leader. This would be like me saying, hey, NASDAQ 100 probably isn't going to take off if NVIDIA can't break out, right? Solana needs to break out. These VWAPs are so good to us in crypto. So just look, I've anchored one from the November high, December high, March pivot high, and look at how they come into play time and time again. We got to break above this red VWAP from the March high, and then I think things start to look a lot better in crypto land. And I would imagine this is leading, not lagging information, right? I would imagine Solana does this maybe a couple days before or a week before the broader crypto space kind of gets on board. That's what we've seen at least so far this cycle. So I'm watching these VWAP levels really closely. Couldn't get it done. Couldn't get it done all this week. Got absolutely rejected at this VWAP. So
I like that you're watching that. I'm not. For me,
it's tactical.
No, I love that you're watching this. If this is what makes you happy, then I want you to do the things that make you happy. I'm not really watching this. What I'm more interested in.
Solana is not a shit coin, Kevin.
I mean, this is the blue chip shit coin, right? This is this is the quality shit coin. So and that's like not even a joke. Like that actually is true. That's a true statement. So here's what I'm watching in the crypto: Bitcoin, Binance, Ethereum. Nah, screw Ethereum. Bitcoin, Binance, and Solana, right? Ethereum's not even good enough to be in this list.
Yep.
Running up to their 21, 22 highs and failing, okay? As long as they're below that, I'm good, right? I'm the old man in the room. I got to see the breakouts. I'll be patient. I'll be the bougie guy who's going to pay more to get higher quality. I'll get those first-class seats. I'll get that upgrade to a suite in the hotel. I will pay more to be in these things knowing that they're already breaking out, right? That's how I look at these. Now, with that being said, as we talked about in yesterday's meeting, I want the list of 10-day highs and I want the list of 30-day highs every day. Not the number of them making new highs, because there really aren't many or any. Which ones? Until further notice. So every day, we're being notified which tokens are making 10-day highs, which tokens are making 30-day highs, and that's not going to stop until there's too many. One day there's going to come a day where it's going to be like, it's too many, and then we'll stop doing that. But for right now, for the foreseeable future, that's the list that I'm focused on. What do you think about my strategy?
I love it. Yep. I think that's great. I mean, we should be doing that in all environments.
All right, let's get Bitcoin of the S&P 500 here. This is the meta. Quite the island reversal. Island reversals are not very common.
What's going on in your life that you're marking up after hours charts?
What's going on in my life?
Yeah. What are you doing here?
Well, when a company incinerates $200 billion in a matter of seconds, it gets my attention. Are you not entertained?
You're fudging the price action into your Optima just because you got to get the bearish chart out as quickly as possible. That's what it seems like to me.
I guess it's $200 billion lit on fire in seconds. You don't think that that's a big deal?
No, that's how much
Just another day in your life.
Yeah, that's how these companies move on earnings, right?
$200 billion incinerated in seconds. You don't care, right? No big deal. JC is the dramatic one.
Yeah, I think so.
You think I'm being dramatic? $200 billion lit on fire in seconds. Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
is this the kind of price action that used to take place last year? Did we see this all the time last year?
I mean,
or did we not see it at all last year?
This company's had an incredible run. You get a chance.
Oh, now it's a company.
Still here, 400. So Meta has gone 5x in a little over a year, right? So that's 600%.
Great point.
I have to go back and check, but that trade last year in Meta, it may have been the best trade of my life. It may have actually been the best trade of my whole life. It was definitely in the conversation. So I'm with you. Now, I don't know what that has anything to do with these guys lighting $200 billion on fire in seconds, right? You see,
well, they didn't light it on fire. The market did.
Yeah, right. Tomato. Money lit on fire. $200 billion with a B. Gone. Wiped out. See ya. This is after Apple wiped out $500 billion in a few months, right? So it's like almost like there's a trend here.
What's
right?
the trend?
Tesla, how many trillions have Tesla wiped out?
Oh God! All right.
But what I'm saying is, this is not like, oh, it's just one of them, or oh, it's just two of them. You see how it keeps adding up? Just observation.
We come on here and say all the time that earnings reactions tend to occur in the direction of the short-term trend, short to intermediate term trend, not the long-term trend, but the short-term trend. And I think that's all that we're seeing, right? The short-term trend has rolled over a bit. There's been some tactical damage in these mega cap growth, large cap tech stocks, and now you're seeing negative earnings reactions. You could take a quarter off or miss a quarter or have a bad earnings reaction in the middle of a bull market. It doesn't end the bull market, right? These guys can't hit on every quarter.
Who said it ended the bull market?
I don't know how this is really out of the ordinary for earnings season.
How is it out of the ordinary?
Big, right?
It's not so much earnings season as it is that $200 billion disappeared in seconds, and you think that I am dramatic for pointing that out. That's what I think is weird. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah, but like, you sound surprised that Meta's earnings reaction is gonna come with.
For the record, I've seen crude oil trade below zero. I worked across the street from Bear Stearns and saw it disappeared. Nothing surprises me at this point, right? So I'm not surprised at all.
Cap.
It's just $200 billion disappeared in seconds. Is all.
Right. Okay. Yes, it did. That's how markets work.
Hell yeah, they do. I'm here for it, baby.
So we're all the way back to where we were 3 months ago.
Don't do that.
Here's what's interesting. Here's what's interesting about this. Sympathy selling in just about all the Mag 7s today. Microsoft down, let's see exactly how much these things are moving. Microsoft down 2.4%. Google down almost 3. Nope, more than 3% now. Apple, however, flat, really unaffected. So you're kind of seeing that resilience from Apple kind of continue. Not trading with names, right, is the point there. They trade as a basket on AI, right? So this is Meta disappointing on their AI. All the Mag 7s are selling off. Anything with AI selling off. Apple not budging. So some people,
I think it's, the mega cap growth. The mega cap growth index closed last week in new 3-month lows, right? Technology closed at new 3-month lows. Small cap technology closed at new 5-month lows. So it's just, what Strazza said before, like the short-term trend obviously is down for these names. This is just further evidence of that, obviously, but it's been in place. So.
Yeah, I haven't been through a real bear market. Yeah.
You haven't been through a real bear market?
No, that's a good point that Steve just made. Meta's getting cracked. So what are the rest of the mega cap tech names doing? And yeah,
they've been going down. They're still going down. That hasn't changed, right? New 3-month lows. New 3-month lows for large cap growth on Friday. You know, the trend is down. Strazza said it himself. So this is just more of that.
Short-term trend is lower.
We keep seeing things that we weren't seeing last year, right? Some people are pretending it's not happening. They like to close their eyes and be like, oh, but the uptrend and all this stuff.
Yeah, but when we say trend, the trend is higher. Typically, when we're talking about trends, we're talking about primary trends. Primary trend is completely unaffected, right? We're getting cute here, talking more and more about short-term trends, right? Typically, we focus on the primary. Primary is intact.
Yeah, great. What does that have to do with the next 45 days, 60 days?
The primary trend?
Yeah.
Then why don't we start writing research about short-term trends instead of primary trends?
We do.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Didn't we sell puts in Berkshire Hathaway last week and our target was hit in 3 days? Is that long term?
It's just less common is all I'm saying, right? We spend a lot more time on the primary trend. I don't know if that's changed.
Yeah, fine. But if premiums are going to deteriorate the fastest in the next 45 to 60 days and volatility is making new 6-month highs and the market's a mess, then we're going to focus on that sweet spot of 45 to 60 days. Why wouldn't we?
I don't love the messaging here. Meta's down 200 billion, right? This has been one of, rather than,
Yeah, so
shouldn't we be talking about buying this dip? Isn't this what we want to buy, this kind of weakness in this environment?
Hell no. Hell no.
Dude.
Are we losing Strazza or is that
No,
me?
we got him.
Oh.
We got him. He's here.
Yeah, no, I'm not buying this dip. Why would I buy this dip? This thing's crashing.
You've already lost me, my friend.
All right.
I can't.
All right, go buy Facebook. Good luck. Mega cap growth is making new 3-month highs. Mega cap growth stocks keep getting worse. Can we just wait at least for them to start to improve? They keep making new lows. Things keep getting worse. Why wouldn't we just wait?
Yes. So eventually you buy this weakness.
In theory, let's see it though.
Fine. Like you don't.
In theory, Jason Tatum, the killer, will eventually come out and he will win a title. In theory.
If you had to
in practice, we haven't seen it yet.
If you had to buy or sell Meta right now here on the open, you had to pick one.
Yeah.
You're looking out to the end of this year. Are you buying or selling this?
Probably selling it.
Okay. For the end of the year?
Unfortunately, I don't have to live my life in this weird hypothetical situation that Strazza came up with. But yeah, I'd probably be selling it.
So you're counting on this is probably a top here soon and the bull market's over then?
No, I'm not doing anything in Meta.
I'm saying you have to. We're just playing.
If I have to, I'd sell it. Sure. Yeah, sure.
You'd sell it. But then wouldn't you? So the bull market probably ends, or you're making the bet that Meta just stops participating.
To be clear, I'm not making any bets.
I
don't have a horse in the race. I don't care. I'm just pointing out that the trend in mega cap growth is not up.
Okay. I don't know.
It's gotten progressively worse as the year has gone on. Mega cap growth as an index closed at new 3-month lows on Friday.
Yeah, let's get it up.
Meta is now down $200 billion in seconds after that. The trend is still down. So I'm with you. These are long-term trends. You argue they're great companies. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I have no idea. But yes, they're longer-term trends. In theory, will we be buying these one day? Sure. But if mega cap growth stocks keep making new lows and bonds keep crashing, buying these things that are crashing are probably not the best of ideas, right? Apple for a potential tactical opportunity, if we can get back above those former lows, I'm open-minded to it, right? I still like delta neutral positions. Delta neutral positions continue to work. So why are we going to get cute with directional trades when the delta neutral positions keep working so well for us?
Long positions are working really well for us too, though. Like really.
Not really mega cap growth longs.
Right, but we have bigger universes than 7
right,
stocks.
Exactly. These are different types of stocks. Agreed. Yes.
We've been killing it on the long side since last year. That hasn't changed. This is what mega cap growth looks like when you zoom out to the prior cycle highs.
It looks like kind of like the equally weighted indexes, it looks like
but I typically we buy these retests in bull markets, right? We buy this.
Who's we?
Level.
Who's we?
Technicians, trend followers.
Yeah, most technicians fucking suck.
Trend followers.
So for me, I am seeing breakouts that keep failing. So why would we expect this one to not fail?
We're seeing a lot of those failed breakouts repair.
Yeah, all right, we'll see.
Levels already.
We'll see. I'm not convinced. I haven't seen the killer come out yet. When I see the killer coming out, I will partake. In the meantime, we're just going to keep making it rain calls and puts. Just keep making it rain.
Can I add that, and I know it's been literally one after-hour session, but Meta bottomed out over last night at a very logical place, right?
Here we go.
Meta bottomed last night.
What?
Yeah. No, go. I hear you.
Yeah.
Spencer's loving on this gap, right?
Yeah. 399. 02. Right?
Did it get that low after hours?
Yes.
Huh. Wow.
Which is more or less where it gapped up the last time around. So,
charts work, I guess.
I'm just saying. I know it's one overnight session, and there's not a lot of volume there. Well, actually, there is for after hours, but
Can we just let him dance? Can we just let him dance?
I'm gonna guess not a coincidence. I don't want to see an oversold reading here today. So this thing's gonna have to rally intraday to get out oversold. But we'll see how that goes. I don't want to buy the ones that got oversold. Those aren't the dips that I want to buy.
Now he's talking. Now you see he's saying something with intelligence. Now you hear what Strazza is saying. Thank you. Well said.
Not all corrections are created equally.
That's right. Thank you. Just like not all bull markets are created equally. So to arbitrarily tell me that I need to be buying dips in mega cap stocks because they've been in a bull market as all these things keep failing. No thanks.
Can I read you some of the replies from my bullish Apple tweet yesterday? I think you'll like it.
Is this from Twitter?
This is from the Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. So it must be high quality then.
Yeah, well, of course. So let's go on down the line here. Wow. A lot. 75 replies. Just the good ones.
I didn't see your tweet. Are you on Twitter?
I'm quiet, but I'm out there.
You're out there. All right, let's see. Okay, so tell me about your replies.
Apple might lose China if the U.S. keeps pressing on with sanctions against China. At the moment, looks to be the plan. Something about Biden's and handlers, and they don't want to see it. Somebody said, JC, green arcs needed. That was the best comment. Great.
People like that, huh? People like that.
People are correcting me. It's not the biggest. By earnings, Apple is the biggest, not by market cap these days.
Earnings, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
So here we go. The Apple chart is certainly not a bull market chart. It's a topping formation. Not sure you can call Apple the baddest company anymore. Slowing growth, little innovation. It's pretty much a bond now with all that cash on the sheets. Should just do a special dividend for its shareholders. This company's had a lot of cash for over a decade. I see a struggle in their innovations and products. It comes from the company owning the iPhone, so who knows? Apple VR sales are declining. You couldn't find a less material business segment for Apple right now than VR. This is telling us something. What do you mean about bull what? Dumb reasons either way. Basically, it was overwhelmingly bearish. Overwhelmingly bearish. There's some good ones in here. Maybe it's the start of a bear market. Bulls have lost control. Apple is what Intel was in 2000. Growth company that has pissed away their pole position and hasn't made any new innovations. End of bull market, we finished wave 5. I could keep going, but the point remains. Sentiment, nothing like price to change sentiment, right?
How many times have we seen this? In both directions, by the way.
They all hate Apple right now, so I like this trade even more than I.
And when I've been bearish Apple before, like years ago, like 10 years ago, let's just say. I remember it's probably about right, and I remember like Apple was putting in like bearish divergences on multiple time frames, relative strength rolling over, and man, the people that were angry at me for being bearish of Apple because Apple had done so well for so long. This is like the opposite, right? But like you said, nothing like price to change sentiment. I mean, Apple's like one of those, like, oh my Apple. It's not your Apple.
Yeah, you're right. People in good times, people love this one, but all that valuation up there for a car that isn't coming. Never was a bull market. Buy when there are earpods in the street. That's good. Look at their earnings growth rate. Total lack of a future plan. Wow, sounds like a short. Sounds like a good short.
Can we talk about just how well Berkshire Hathaway has done despite its position in Apple?
Yeah, it's so impressive. Really
Think about that. Apple's incinerated $500 billion this year. Gone. And Warren Buffett owns, what was the number? Like 20%? 20% of the portfolio's Apple?
Yeah.
So think about just how well those insurance and industrial stocks and, that Berkshire owns and Dairy Queen and whatever.
Well, you're saying it. Like, think about the groups that, he's overweight. Insurance, discretionary, financials, industrials, basic economy stocks, rails, stuff that's really working. So
it's the stuff Warren Buffett likes to bet on, the things that won't change.
Japanese financials. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. But so think about it, if they didn't have this shitty Apple in their portfolio, how much better they'd be doing.
Yeah, totally. They own a lot of it.
Very impressive.
I wonder if they're buying more.
You follow this stuff closer than me. I thought that you told me that they were done, probably, no?
I think they're done with Oxy.
What about Apple?
I mean, they own so much. How much of one thing could you really own?
Right. Also, Apple, right?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, totally.
Apple's a whole bunch of things.
Apple's a tech conglomerate.
Yeah, right. So
you could spin Apple off into like 2 or 3 Fortune 500 businesses.
Really? What's the biggest businesses? The phone?
You could spin the iPad off and the wearables, and then
really the iPad?
No. From a growth standpoint.
Yeah,
it's wearables.
Just from revenues. I think you got like 20 or 30 billion from the other devices, at least maybe 50, and then services could be its own, probably Fortune 50 company.
Yeah, I mean revenue. It's iPhone and everybody else, but yeah.
But when you're comparing to other large cap companies, the other segment revenue, I'll pull it up. It's not nothing. It's actually, it would be large cap companies.
What are we making of consumer staples pushing up against new multi-month highs relative to the S&P 500, finally getting a little of that defensive rotation?
Don't love that. Again, we talk about discretionary relevance.
What don't you love about it?
I don't want to see staples outperform here. That wouldn't be.
Why?
Because that's a bearish development. Right?
Yeah, but if we're selling premium,
I'm not selling premium. I'm not making sideways bets. We're disagreeing again.
All right. Well, I'm going to continue to make sideways bets and taking advantage of traders that are lacking patience and discipline and want to make those donations. And as investors, it's up to us to collect them. That's all.
Get this: iPhone, 200 billion
in revenues.
200 billion a year
in revenues.
Yeah.
Services are 85 billion now. So that's one of the largest.
What services? What is that?
That's all the subscriptions. That's all those subscriptions. It's the Apple. It's the Fitness Plus. It's the TV Plus. It's the cloud. A lot of cloud storage. People paying for that cloud storage.
Sure.
All right. What do you think wearables is now? So this is watch and headset.
What is wearables? 40?
If iPhone's 200, what are wearables?
40?
Yeah, dude. Spot on.
Right.
And then we have Mac and iPad. What's larger?
Oh, Mac.
Barely though. iPad's really caught up. Mac had a bad year. But they're both around 30. Yeah, Mac's at about 30. It was 40 last year. And iPad's almost at 30. Coming in less than $1 billion lower.
All right.
But 5 departments that all are making $30 billion a year. If you apply a 4x price to sales multiple on that, these are all companies with a market cap above 100 billion. So Apple could have 5 separate companies that all would have a market cap above $100 billion.
Speaking of Apple, they
one company.
I saw Apple cut their forecast for Vision. I guess Vision Pro demand ain't what they thought it would be, but we'll talk about that more next week when they have earnings. Let's bring on our guest today, JC, an old friend of yours,
old pal of mine, Frances Horodelski, the legend.
Is this her first time on the show, JC?
Yes, it is.
So her and I did a podcast together once, but I forgot that she hadn't been on the show yet. Frances Horodelski, legend.
All right, I'm bringing her on.
Yo,
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Francis.
Hey, how are you, JC? Nice to see you.
Great to see you, Francis, as always. Okay, let me tell you how this works. Here, I ask the questions around here, all right? This is how this works.
I'm a guest. How exciting is that? And I wore my Canadian kind of red just for you.
I was just saying how we need to do an event in Toronto coming up soon. I didn't even realize that you were coming on the show today, but I take it you agree.
Yeah, and what are you doing in Toronto? And when?
So these days, Francis, we'd like to get the whole team together. We have traders and analysts all over the world, in Australia and New Zealand and South America and all over the United States and Canada and everything. So, we get together a few times a year. We were in New York together a couple months ago. We're going to Sonoma next month, Chicago in September. So we kind of like mix it around, go to cool cities. And I would put Toronto in the category of cool cities.
Best cool city, one of them in the world, I think, but I live here, so there you go.
So for those who don't know Francis and I go way back. I'd like to tell the story. The only reason Francis likes me is because I'm the only person to go on her show to talk about the crude oil natural gas ratio, right? This was like 12 years ago or something like that, when the oil natural gas ratio, by the way, was kind of where it is right now, in case you haven't looked. And, we were pounding the table looking for a rip your face off rally in natural gas. And Francis was like, who's this crazy Cuban coming in here talking about natural gas? We've been pals ever since, right?
And it was the rip your face off rally, which I must have lived under a rock or something. I've been in the business a long time, but that was the first time I'd heard that phrase, and I've used it subsequent. Interestingly, on the oil, nat gas, in some parts of the Permian right now, sad to bring in fundamental details.
Oh, please.
Gas is negative, just like oil was in 2020. In parts of the Permian, not gas is negative. That's got to be some kind of trigger. The fundamentals are kind of crappy right now, but that's when you have to step up, I think.
I love how we just get right into it, Francis. We get right into it. Hold on. Let's take a step back, because some Americans and whatnot might not be familiar with your history. Francis and I met on BNN, doing TV together over the years, live from the NASDAQ and all that stuff back in the day when I lived in New York. And Francis, chartered financial analyst, CFA, you don't run into too many journalists, with that sort of, background and expertise, which is really fascinating. Can you just kind of give us a little background? Like, how did you go from CFA to, being a legend on the TV? Like,
I don't know about the legend. Brief bio. I started on Bay Street, the equivalent of Wall Street, in 1980. I've had a ton of opportunities as that business or the street consolidated. I happened to be in with the leading investment dealer at the time. Went through that to about the year 2005. I was on the street. I was one of the first directors at one of the big banks, female directors at one of the big banks in the 90s. In any event, in 2005, left Bay Street, said I wanted to take a break, got bored with taking a break, looking after my family, saw an ad in the newspaper. It said, do you want to be on TV? And I said, oh, sure. And that's kind of the rest is history.
And you enjoyed it right away? It was something that you loved to do? That's why you stuck around?
It actually started, I started the week Bear Stearns went under. In 2008, not a better time in the world to be on TV. So it was a blast and had a lot of fun.
Well, and then years later, I remember I was speaking at a CMT Association event in Toronto. You came. That was a lot of fun. Great town, good eats.
Yeah.
Definitely got to make it back. So Francis, talk to me a little bit about what you're doing now. How are you spending your days?
Right now, I do a little bit of director work, and I write a blog every day. I do some public speaking, enjoying my life, traveling. I was just in Spain. Should have asked you for some wine recommendations, but did not. Was in London. So I'm doing a lot of traveling, keeping my hand in, as I said, some public speaking, and just having a blast, trying to make some money in the market every day.
So Canadians in general tend to be more interested in things like natural resources than, perhaps Americans and other countries. And I got to tell you, Francis, some of these natural resources, they've been doing pretty good these days, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if we're particularly more interested or less interested. We just have lots of them. So energy, basic materials are big weights in our index, the TSX composite. So, it's just we have them. So we go through periods of time when it's not very much fun. But right now, copper's on a roll. Big merger announced this morning, or potential merger in the copper space. Energy has been on a roll, nat gas, of course not. So gold, silver. And as I said, I don't think we're particularly more interested in it than anybody else, but we love when Americans come to play. So they're not playing yet in our backyard in a big way. But when they start to play, they come to our names. So that's a lot of fun. When it happens, and when it's almost a well, what do I want to call it, a sell signal when they get too interested in Canada. That hasn't happened yet.
Sure. Why don't we start with the worst and then work our way to some of the best? The worst one, in my view, is natural gas.
Yeah.
And when you zoom out in natural gas, historically, this is a great price to be accumulating. However, it usually takes a while to get going, right? It's usually a messy start that could take 6-12 months. So while the price itself seems to be relatively attractive down here, the timing of it is a little bit more complicated than that, right? Can you touch on how you think about it?
I'm not sure what the trigger is going to be for a rally in the price. Of course, we had the war a couple of years ago. That was a big trigger. The problem right now is basically there's too much of it. So we're well above the average in terms of inventories. We're well above the 5-year average in terms of inventories. And we're still in injection season. So we're going to get inventories in about an hour or so. For the latest week, they're probably going to be a big.
What does that mean, injection season?
So, what happens is that there are storage levels of natural gas, and we go through a lot of seasonality in demand. We have heating season, and then we have cooling season. Right now, we're a bit on the shoulder, so producers are injecting into inventory levels before it gets used on the other side. The next big usage will be the cooling season. So if we have a really hot summer, that could be good, but we're going in with a lot of natural gas. So, it's a supply demand thing. There's a lot of supply right now. What could happen? Drilling could ease up. We could have a very, very hot winter. We could have dislocation from hurricane season. All of these things could play into a potential improvement in the price. I'm not I love natural gas. Ultimately, it's a relatively clean fuel. I think there's a huge energy demand issue that's coming even from AI. We heard Zuckerberg on the call last night talk about energy and how that could be a theme in terms of expenses for them. That's an opportunity, I think, in that gas long term. But we got a lot. There's a big supply, and we need to see some drilling come back. We also need to see maybe a hot summer. So pray for a hot summer.
Well, hot summer or no hot summer, I want to throw up slide 2, Spencer. This is the New York Stock Exchange Oil Index. So this includes companies on the New York Stock Exchange that are not just American, but so this is more of like a global stock market index. And it's making new all-time highs. Right. So how do you think about the stocks themselves? Names like Imperial Oil in Canada, but just kind of globally.
So the big names, so the Canadian big, let's call them integrated oil names, or the producers, the oil producers, they have had a a terrific past year. They're making lots of money. They're reducing debt dramatically, and a lot of that cash is going into the pockets of investors. So they're doing buybacks, they're doing dividend hikes, and many of these companies are committed to, once they get their debt levels down, and they're doing that, Imperial Oil as an example, they're committed to giving all of that excess or free cash flow to shareholders. So that's kind of why you've seen these big names get big lifts. They rotate. Synovus was a name that was down on flatten its back at 20, and now it's now in the high 20s. So you've got to pick your spots. The gas producers in Canada are interesting. Tourmaline, TOU, I doubt it's in that index, I don't know for sure, is a big gas player in Canada, probably the best natural gas player in Canada. It's not cheap, but it's got the best management and a commitment to special dividends. And ultimately, as investors, we want the money to come to us. It's nice to get the share price boost, but it's great to get those dividends as well. And Tourmaline has been big. I own Tourmaline. It's been big on paying special dividends out. So, just and I should mention, Suncor is another big name, probably in that index.
Yes, this index looks a lot like Imperial. I hate to keep coming back to Imperial, but if you look at a chart of Imperial Oil and you look at this, they look exactly the same. For good reason, I think. Why don't we move on to the rocks?
Oh,
Spencer,
okay.
can you throw up the new slide too? The new slide too. So I like rocks, but Canadians love them, right?
Yeah, I guess we do like them. I love copper. I actually sold my FCX about 2 weeks ago because things get a little ahead of themselves. I thought FCX was a little ahead of itself. It's got copper and gold. There is a big supply-demand imbalance pending for copper over the next few years. So I'll let your viewers kind of dig into the nitty-gritty of all that, but that bodes well for copper. And as we saw this morning, BHP is making an offer for Anglo American. The reason, copper. You look at energy demand, EVs, which I know are kind of persona non grata right now, solar, all kinds of uses for copper, industrial uses. I think it goes higher. I don't know if we get the breakout here. I see your chart. You've got some arrows here and there on copper. It might take another couple of goes, I guess, at that line in the sand, but I think we do it this time.
Listen, you might have your CFA, but you know how to look at a chart, Francis, right? Don't let them fool you.
Well, I call it knocking on heaven's door sometimes, and we've been here before. I don't know how many times we have to knock, because in 2020 we knocked it more than a few times, and of course the COVID thing blew everything out of the water. But I think we'll do it again this time, like we did. I'm just looking back here. Was that like 2003, 2005? We got the big breakout.
And for me, in my experience, if one of these is going to go and gold's going to go, I find it hard to believe that copper isn't, right? So it's not just like a gold thing; it's a metals thing.
Yeah,
Right?
some of it's that. I'd be interested in your view, though, because we've seen the U.S. dollar be strong and gold strong. Like, that's weird. That's not the usual relationship you have. Gold strong, Chinese are buyers, inflation fears, all these kinds of weird things. But the U.S. buck's been strong, and I find that interesting that that correlation seems to be thrown out the window a little bit.
Throw up the new slide too there. I think it's less about the United States dollar, and I think it's more about gold, right? So gold has already been making new all-time highs price in CAD and Aussie and Euro and British pounds and more recently Swiss franc and now the dollar, right? So flip that on its head, Francis. All of these currencies around the world, all the ones you mentioned and many more, have been making all-time lows priced in real money or gold for quite some time now.
Yeah.
The Swiss franc just broke down finally relative to gold. And now the dollar just broke down priced in real money. So, for me, it was kind of just inevitable. It was just really only a matter of time. This has been the trend. So while you're right, and that correlation of a weaker dollar and higher commodities prices has been in place, Ari Wald was here on our show yesterday talking about exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but what if we just take the US dollar out of the equation altogether? These things have been working, have they not, Francis?
Well, some people might say this is on these bases, maybe it's long in the tooth.
So the fact that, you know, do you think it's long in the tooth, or you think it's just getting going?
I actually don't. But I mean, we've been rallying relatively these currencies for a little while. The big story is going to be, and I think I heard you talking earlier before we came live on the yen. So the yen this morning made a 34-year low.
Yep.
You know, the Bank of Japan going to intervene? What does that actually mean? So there's a lot of weird things happening. And to be honest, people do like gold. They can put it under their mattress. You know, if you go and buy real gold, you can buy the bars if you want.
Gold bars under your mattress, Francis. I mean, that's a really Canadian thing to do. Seems uncomfortable.
I don't know. I don't have it under my mattress, but I will say that historically, and you know this probably better than I do, that the stocks tend to do better than bullion over time. They have better leverage to the metal. They can pay dividends, and they've lagged. They've actually recently picked up a bit of steam, but they've lagged. So I would probably want to pay, whether it's a Newmont or a Barrick or XGD is the Canadian ETF, GXD is the US ETF. They've lagged. So I'd like to do that. Now we're going to take a look at silver. I think you want to talk about.
Well, I mean, when I look at, we talked about the oil natural gas ratio. I think you and me are the only people who actually talk about that. The silver gold ratio, a little more popular. In this case, we flip that on its head. This is the number of ounces of silver that it takes to buy 1 ounce of gold, around 80. And historically, this is way too many ounces of silver to buy an ounce of gold, right? How are you thinking about that?
So I actually sent a chart in earlier. It was for the CSLV, which is the Sprott silver ETF. I mean, that's kind of spiky, obviously. Silver had a big breakout here. I mean, that's a classic breakout, to use your terms. I'd like it to see pull back a little bit, but I do like silver. I think it goes higher. It is the most conductive metal of all the metals in terms of electricity usage. So I'm kind of big into alternate energy right at the moment. And I think silver is going to be a long-term beneficiary of that. Got way ahead of itself. I mean, that's a spiky chart. I mean, I don't like buying charts that are way up on a spike like that, even if they're really strong fundamentals. You've seen the pullback. Do we get another one? We might get another on this particular chart, maybe another buck or two. I don't think it gets all the way down to the breakout. I don't know, but I think there's good demand for silver long haul.
I like, Francis, how you brought in a couple of charts. You brought in utilities and technology. I'd love to hear what you're thinking here.
So I'm a big believer in pendulum swinging, and they've been swinging so fast. The first chart I brought was the percentage of stocks above the 50-day moving average for the XLU, so the components in the utilities index. And I just can't believe how it went from 0% to 100% and back to zero in the blink of an eye. Actually, this is not the XLU. I apologize. This is named wrong. This is the XLK. The other chart is the XLU. Maybe we can.
That's my bad. That's my bad. Sorry.
So this is actually the XLU. I must have misnamed them when I sent them. This one just floors me. A week and a half ago, we were at 20% below the above the 50-day moving average. We're now at 100%. That happened in a week and a half. We have a golden cross in the XLU. That happened about 2 weeks ago. So everybody got kind of antsy about this. I think I want to buy U.S. utilities. And I think there's a theme there. It's probably ahead of itself short term. There's income that can be gotten. There is a electricity and a power theme that I think is developing in the marketplace. So XLU, way ahead of itself, I think. these swings in some of these charts, the XLK is the same. I mean, last November we were at single digits above the 50-day. We went to almost 100. That's this chart, almost 100%. Now we're back to kind of where we were when the market bottomed. The tech market bottomed in November. What's it going to be that takes it up? It's not going to be Meta, obviously, today. Mess that Meta is. I kind of agree with Steve that maybe, was it Steve mentioned, like maybe the gap got filled overnight for Meta. But, I'm not a fan of Mark Zuckerberg, so I'll stay away from Meta. I am a fan of Apple. And I heard your conversation earlier. I think Apple is going to do something here. It's going to take the Meta money, is what I think. And this chart says maybe there's a trade in technology. I don't know how long haul it is, but there's some decent companies in there that you may want to take a look at.
Yeah, listen, Francis, I'm open to it. I'm open-minded to anything really. I just see technology and large cap growth and all of these making new 3-month lows, small cap technology making new 5-month lows, the bond market crashing every day. Like those things don't make me want to buy tech. You know what I mean? Like let's let the bleeding stop. Let's see a few blood clots first, and then we could talk about, right? Like I don't see the point in getting cute. You got volatility making new 6-month highs. Like I'd rather collect income here. You've got impatient. I mean, Francis, correct me if I'm wrong. You've been watching these knuckleheads your whole career, impatient traders that just can't sit on their hands. They feel like they have to be doing something, even in messy markets. This is that. Me, call me an old man. I like taking advantage of those impatient traders that are making donations. I think it's prudent as an investor to collect that income rather than joining the impatient traders.
Well, I think there are places to make that income. And I think you're talking about option writing. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, you write puts on Apple, or when these spikes happen in the gold index or in the silver index, you can write calls against those positions. I don't disagree, because the market is messy. And I don't know whether it's too much of a short-term focus. I think we talked about that when you had me on your podcast. I mean, we all get into this little narrow day-to-day, week-to-week look. And I love one thing that you say is zoom out. Come back and see where we are in terms of the big cycle. In the big cycle, I think we're in a bull market. I don't think it's over. Maybe it's messy right now, and you can talk about why and all kinds of reasons why. But zoom out and see where you are and see where the rotation's happening. And, it seems to happen very fast. So take advantage of it if you can, but have a long-term strategy.
Yeah, no, I agree with exactly what you said. Obviously, Francis, we've had plenty of conversations. You say a lot of JC-isms. I've caught that this conversation. Whenever in doubt, zoom out. The longer-term trend is up in equities, in tech, in growth, all these things. No one's arguing that. But premiums deteriorate the fastest within 45 to 60 days of expiration, right? So that window that we currently find ourselves in is really where my focus is currently, because the market is a mess, right? One of the things that as investors that we need to do, and I try my damn hardest to do, is to adapt to the market environment. In other words, first identify what type of market environment we're in, and then decide which tools and strategies are best for that environment. And guess what? The strategies that are best in this environment are not the ones that were good last year, right? And the ones that were good last year aren't very good this year. And if you haven't been able to adapt, you're having a hard time, right? So that's sort of how I like to think about it.
I'm certainly stealing your that idea every day, and trying to work it into my own head. But on that, premium, when you see the spikes, take advantage of it, because they don't last for very long. But
yes,
the premiums get really, really fat. You don't have to stay to expiry. I mean, you can. Right. You can write them and buy them back in 2 days. If you can.
That's what we do, Francis. That's what we do. We when we could buy them back for half of what we collected, we take the profits. So yes, that's exactly right. We sold puts in Berkshire last week. Our profits were hit in 3 days, for example, right?
So there's a lot of things sitting at support. You can write puts. Puts totally different strategy, of course, maybe riskier for many, but that's it. That's the other. I mean, look at, and I don't think you like this, but small caps had that run and then they've fallen apart. Small biotech had a run, they've fallen apart. Maybe they're at the fall apart level right at the moment where you might
It's
want
a mess, Francis. They're a mess. They're
a mess. Sometimes you got to step up when it's a mess. I don't know.
But asset prices trend. So something that's a mess has a higher likelihood to continue to be a mess than just picking a direction, right? Something in an uptrend has a higher likelihood to continue in an uptrend, right? Asset prices trend. That's why you're a closet technician, Francis, because asset prices trend.
But you know what Kanye West said? I love that. I bring my
says a lot of things.
Kanye West, but he said trend is always late. And by the time people realize the trend is happening, it's too late. Kanye, he's not my man. I know it's not cool.
Kanye West
got lots of issues, but trend is always late.
How many of you had Francis Horodelski quoting Kanye on your bingo card, huh?
Did not have that on my bingo card today.
Last question. Francis, best restaurant in Toronto. Go.
Sorel.
How do you spell
that? Yonge Street, just south of St. Clair, Yonge Street, south of St. Clair. Hard to get a reservation. Great wine list, great food.
How do you spell it?
Good stuff is pricey. It's not a steakhouse. I know you like some of the steakhouses, but
I like a lot of things, Francis. I don't discriminate. Sorrel.
Yes.
Rosedale, Toronto. Do we have that right?
There you go.
All right. Shout out Sorrel. Francis, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. You are a legend.
Great to be here. And I really I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Thank you, Francis.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
God bless her. She's been putting up with me for years. Decade.
Yeah, did not have Kanye West quote on
Didn't see that
bingo card today. No.
Didn't see that coming.
Nope.
Strazza? No? Surprise?
That was fantastic.
Dude, she's the best, man. She's great.
Drink in the corner crying. Let's do a couple headlines here to bring us some charts.
The Deutsche Bank? Did you want to talk about the Deutsche Bank?
Well, that's not where I was going next. I was going to go to IBM. It's getting cracked today. Down 10%, which is a big move for IBM.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It was a revenue miss, and they're also acquiring HashiCorp, ticker HCP, right? So, typically companies that are doing the acquiring get hit. So it's the combination of acquiring a company, spending money, and light revenue. At least compared to where the street.
So it has nothing to do with the fact that the stock got cut in half last time it was here, and now it's back here and struggling again. It has nothing to do with that.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying it's sort of like a double, a triple whammy, if you want to bring that into it this morning. So, but again, IBM doesn't typically make moves of this magnitude.
Nope, I can tell you this.
But it does whenever it gets to this price.
No, hold on. No, Spencer's right. A 10% move in IBM, pretty much in a single day, and I know the day is just starting, pretty much never happens. We had one occurrence on March 12th, 2020, which was the pandemic crash. And then before that, you got to go back to, it doesn't happen. Looking at the one-day rate of change, back at the financial crisis. Financial crisis, the worst one-day loss was like 6%. So this is like, if we move 10%, double digits to the downside in IBM today, this never happens. So that's interesting.
Well, it happens this year because this is the type of market environment we're in where this sort of thing happens. Last year you didn't see this sort of thing.
Are we in the kind of environment where this thing happens, or is this just kind of now happening this quarter earnings?
No, it's been happening probably since like early February.
Okay.
Caterpillar down 9%. There's something that never happened last year.
Yeah, I think we have that chart as well. The earnings on Cat.
Hundreds of billions of dollars being incinerated in seconds. No big deal.
Well, and 1 minute into the day, yeah.
Same thing. You'd have to go back to the COVID sell-off for a move this big. So, yeah, these reactions certainly stand out, JC. I don't know if I think this is more of a new development. I don't think it's
See what happens when the bond market crashes every day? Tech don't like it.
Well, Caterpillar, not necessarily a tech stock, but
but when it's making new highs now, it's the tech of industrials, and AI is why Caterpillar is working so well. I'm not saying you, but
do people say that?
yeah,
Huh.
of course. Anything working as well as Caterpillar did last year is because of AI, Strazza. Don't you know how this works?
I guess if you're not looking at other industrials charts, right?
Right. That's right. Right. All of these engineering and friggin' right.
Yep. And Apple.
You know who's at? You know who's at a nice round number here. I just had rice, which is kind of relevant. Chipotle, trading at right around $3,000 right now on their beat, top line beat, bottom line beat, good guidance. Can't stop the burrito bowls, man.
New all-time highs. Fresh guac.
Dude, Spencer's wife alone keeps these people in business.
Dude, I'm going to Omaha next weekend, right? And she goes, guess what I'm gonna do while you're gone? And I'm like, Chipotle? She's like, yeah.
And what are you gonna eat in Omaha?
They have steak. They have steaks
Corn?
there. They have Omaha steaks. JC, I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Those like cheap steaks that you have to order.
That was a joke. We're going to a steakhouse, and
you don't want to order that.
Yeah, they're the magazine steaks.
Yeah, you don't want those.
You order them from a magazine.
No. You want to order from Crowd Cow. That's where you want to order your steaks from.
Okay. Well, in any case, we'll be going to a steakhouse, I'm sure, and be eating food as one does. But Chipotle, yeah, printing new not new all-time highs right now, but new all-time highs.
New all-time high pre-market, or
I was gonna say, if you look pre-market, yes, it did 30.85.
I mean, it's at a new all-time high right now, is it not?
No.
I think it is.
No.
It is.
Yeah, it's the new all-time high, Spencer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop it.
It's a new all-time high, bro.
30.23 a month ago.
Yeah, it hit 30.28. So that is a new all-time high by 5 points.
I'm talking about like
math majors.
I'm talking about real time, like literally right now.
Hey, but market opened 3 minutes ago, so this just happened in the last 3 minutes.
Okay, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about right in this second.
Right at the end of the day, the homie Charlie Dow said closing prices are the most important prices.
Yeah. Okay.
Let them stick it.
All right.
Let them dance,
All right.
Can we agree
get
there?
through earnings. Let Spencer do his earnings thing. We got a lot reporting.
No, he does the earnings thing, and then we badger him to death until he moves on to the next stock.
I think that was. One. I mean, Steve, did you want to talk about Deutsche Bank? Actually, Deutsche Bank and Barclays both having a good day here so far, up 6% apiece.
I mean, but if we're talking about new highs, we got to be talking about this Deutsche Bank chart. The reversal is in.
I guess it was a beat on the top and the bottom line for Deutsche Bank. So cool.
Strazza, what's up with Credit Suisse? Is this helping at all? It's got to be, right?
I guess I'm not paying attention to their earnings, but yes, they're reporting Credit Suisse on a consolidated basis now. Think about it. UBS broke out. Beautiful chart. HSBC, I guess you could call that a breakout too, right? Really nice base. We're talking about Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, all the big 6 banks here in the US. We're talking about Latin American big banks. We're talking about Japanese big banks. Deutsche Bank making new multi-year highs, I think makes sense, right? In this environment. So,
yeah, I think it's a fade.
Of course you do.
Yeah, because I don't know why I wouldn't. Throw up the new slide too, Spencer.
This new form of analysis that you're doing where we bet against breakouts and new highs, it's just different.
No one's betting against anything. We're running into very clear resistance. We're literally running into that former support that turned into resistance. So yeah, I think it's a fade. I don't know what new analysis this is. Resistance is resistance. I'm not going to put on a position, but if you want to do one of these weird, psychotic, hypothetical situations of what I would do between now and the year of the end, I'd fade it.
That's a really thick line.
Which is what we do around here.
That resistance comes in around 20. This is a breakaway gap here today.
No, I agree. I think it's got legs. I think we can go to 19. So you got another point. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're right.
Listen,
arguments here.
this basket of stocks just continues to trend really well.
But I will tell you this, Strazza, even though I do think it's a fade up here because we're running into very obvious levels that if we just rip through, I'd be very surprised, which is entirely possible. I'm open-minded to it. I just doubt it. I think ultimately when Deutsche Bank has a 20 handle, and for the record, Strazza, we are in a bull market, and I think Deutsche Bank ultimately does get a 20 handle. I think that's probably a good buy for a double or a triple from there.
But then why would you fade it?
I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
But if you want to play one of these psychotic games where like, oh, if gun to your head, if you want to do one of those, I'm fading it. What I really want to do is I want to set my alerts at 20. And when this thing's got a 20 handle, you flip the book for a trade to 40 or 60. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to argue with that. That's very logical game plan. You set your alerts for 20. Maybe it gets hit this year. Maybe it gets hit next year. Maybe it never gets hit. But when it does, I'll be on board. But it's not. We're below resistance. We're below former support. Things a mess. As good as it is here today, and as good as it's been, it's not for me up here. And I think I have very good reasons as to why.
Fine.
Right? No arguments, right? That makes perfect sense, does it not?
I can't argue with you on everything.
Thank God. How about Francis Horodelski dropping JC-isms left and right? You like that?
She's a lot of fun.
Dude, she's such a G. She's great.
Hey, Francis actually mentioned this, but we should go into more detail on it. Anglo-American, this is a report from Bloomberg. Anglo-American, actually, they themselves reported a takeover offer unsolicited from BHP Group that would value Anglo-American at about $39 billion. A combo of these two companies would create the world's largest copper producer. So we've been talking about materials and commodities on this show, or I don't know, all of our stuff for some time now. What is another signal that the winds are in favor, tailwinds at your back, is appetite for deal flow, and this would be a big one if it actually happens.
Yeah, so no longer listed in the U.S.
Yeah, the ticker is well, there's a bunch, but the liquid one I think is NGLOY. That's Anglo-American.
Oh, it is over the counter still.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
BHP is listed, but
yeah, about 1450, sure.
And if you go to their website, they'll actually, if you go to Anglo-American site, like there's like a pop-up that says, we just got this offer. I think I just went there.
Yeah, up about,
yeah.
Well, it's up about 14% over in Europe. I don't know why it's not getting much movement here on the OTC. Oh,
yeah. Learn more regarding this possible offer.
We talk about the memes.
What is Anglo-American not meme enough for you?
It is not. Can we talk about the memes? Throw up slide 2. Strazza, you know how much I love these names, these type of names.
The bonk was up. The bonk was up.
I'm talking about publicly traded memes. Sorry.
Oh, public. You mean stock memes?
Stock memes.
Stock memes.
It's too quiet here, JC.
What?
The stock is too quiet.
I really like it when humans are angry at a stock for reasons that have nothing to do with the stock. Right? We've talked about this so many times. Right? When a Strazza's favorite is Palantir. Right? Is that your favorite?
No. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
Strazza's a fan of the situation in which humans are upset, whether they don't like Peter Thiel or they think it's a scam or whatever. That's just a great inherent built-in short squeeze. So regardless of whether you're, on the left side of the aisle or the right side of the aisle, you're a Trumper, you hate Trump, you don't know who Trump is, none of this matters. The bottom line is there is a large segment of the investing population that just dislikes this particular stock and situation, like other stocks too, obviously.
And we love war.
Kind of like Strazza's talking about Apple now, right? But they hate this. So it's kind of like an inherent short squeeze, especially with such a small market cap. This thing is only what, 5? This thing is
Palantir?
5 billion.
What?
No.
What?
Palantir is larger than 5 billion. It's
Nobody's talking about Palantir. I'm talking about Trump.
Small market cap? Is that what you just said?
He's talking
5 billion?
about Trump Media. Yeah.
Small market cap.
Yeah, 5 billion.
That's huge.
No.
Yes, they don't make any money.
Nobody cares about your earnings, Spencer. We're talking about a stock.
$5
billion is tiny compared to $2.5 trillion Apple.
It's massive when they don't make any money.
Oh my God, Spencer, no one gives a shit about their earnings, bro. It's a meme coin. Stop with the earnings.
Spencer, a lot of large companies with gigantic market caps are still not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Amazon doesn't earn any money either.
No. They don't have revenue, like top line.
No, we get it.
But that's why it's a meme coin. It's a publicly traded meme coin. The fact that there's no earnings.
Nobody thinks that this is a small market cap for this stock. Like literally nobody.
It's not that it's a small market cap for this stock. It's just a small market cap, period.
I disagree too. I think I can build a story out here that a certain person gets reelected. And if you want to hear what he's thinking and saying on a day-to-day basis, you might have to go to some new website and there could be a lot of value there.
Oh my God. Who gives a shit? Who cares?
Okay. Oh my God. Fine.
Who cares? The bottom line is there's a built-in short squeeze in this thing because people are angry for whatever reason, whether legitimately or not, right? For the right reasons or not. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is that there's a built-in short squeeze potential in names like this. This is just one of them. And if the Trump is above 35, I think the squeeze is on. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Spencer's right. For making no money, and this is, nonsense, 5 billion theoretically is a lot. It's about the same as Pepe coin, which I'm pretty sure Pepe coin doesn't make much money either, right?
Their report was actually hysterical. They had like a couple million in revenues, and then I think like 100 million in losses.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, they're, Go ahead.
If it's above 35, I think you look at it from the long side for the reasons I said. People are just angry at this for reasons that have nothing to do with the stock. And that's great. That's a great setup.
This reminds me of the Will Ferrell meme from what is it? Is it Blades of Glory or where it's like it's controversial, but I like it. You're just trying to be controversial. There's no reason to talk about this name.
Controversial for what? The fact that it's squeezing above 35? I don't understand what's controversial about that.
I see you.
Kind of done nothing here for a week.
JC knows how to incite the masses. He's really good at it.
I don't need to incite any masses. I don't give a shit.
You're poking the bear with this one. No, a little bit.
This show, let's remember the genesis of this show. Strazza and me.
Provocative, that's the word.
Every morning, Strazza and me are doing this anyway. We're checking the filings from the day before. We're checking the pre-market earnings. Mm-hmm. We're zooming out and looking at the intermarket relationships. We're looking for opportunities. That was the genesis of the show. And then we're so we invited Spencer and he joined us, right? So first there were 2 in our wolf pack, and now there are 3 in our wolf pack, right? And we're just presenting ideas. I don't care if anybody watches or a million people watch. It doesn't matter. This is a selfish endeavor. We're looking for opportunities to make money. And you know what else I love about this one? How the uncorrelated nature of it. Notice how this doesn't trade with mega cap growth. It doesn't trade with energy. It's its own animal. I can keep going as to why this situation is so interesting to me.
Listen, and these names are working, I think is the bigger point, right? Yeah. Whether it's heavily shorted names, meme names, or memeified stocks, these areas continue to see big moves and big winners.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
It's but basically the same. I just spent the last 30 seconds trying to find like market cap equivalents to this company. Macy's, not I mean like companies, right?
Yeah, but
Macy's,
Macy's.
Macy's is not even a company, dude. It's a bankrupt piece of crap.
but it's not about that, right? This one is about
What?
the animal spirit. It's not. There are no fundamentals. You're not going to make sense of the market cap. It doesn't make sense. I'm not sitting here telling you it should be a $5 billion.
Not supposed to make
that
sense.
Doesn't. It doesn't matter. You get some momentum behind this thing. It's heavily short. It's low float. It's attached to Donald Trump. I mean, this one's dangerous on both sides. This for me is a stay the hell away. But I hear you. If I had to gun to my head, I guess we're long. I'm with you.
Strazza agreeing with me for
well,
once in his life. Jesus Christ.
I got something for you that you're not going to agree with. Do you want to read me the ServiceNow number, Spencer? This is a secular leader. This stock is so good. AI things. NVIDIA talks about their partnership with ServiceNow all the time. Love the leadership at ServiceNow. It's run by the former head of SAP Global, Bill McDermott, the sunglasses guy. But he's excellent. Just been one of the best tech operators forever. So
this is the same ServiceNow that's making new 3-month lows today, right? That one?
I think we talked about this. I think we talk about this one every go around. You bring this up.
You got to buy these dippies. So chart is in the chat. Throw up the ServiceNow. We have dabbled with these pullbacks. ASML looked like this. TSM, Google looked like this. I think these charts are so buyable right now. JC is going to say, no, I would rather short it. That's fine if it's below the prior cycle highs, but why not take a shot in the context of a bull market, buy some weakness in a secular leader, right? And if you're wrong, you're out for a dollar, right? Your loss will be minimal.
Right. I agree. If it's above the prior cycle's highs, it is not, as it's making new 3-month lows today and literally below the prior cycle's highs.
No, so 700.
Because all that stuff you said might be true. I don't know. I stopped listening. It doesn't matter.
700. So we're trading at 699. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So
the high was 707. So it's almost 10 points below that.
The high of what?
The high of the prior cycle. Literally what you just said.
Yeah.
707.
Yeah. So 1%.
Yeah.
We're talking about 1%. Right.
You're the one who said if it's above the prior cycle's highs, you could look to own it. It's not.
Anyway, if we're above 700 in ServiceNow, I think you take a shot at this all day. CrowdStrike looks similar. AMD looks similar.
Yeah, I think if it's below 700, you could short the crap out of it.
Dude, if you want to be bearish in a bull market, that's your business.
It's not about being bearish in a bull market. It's about selling things that keep going down.
You're looking to short things in a bull market. It's strange to me.
All right, well. I don't know what a bull market has anything to do with the next 45 to 60 days. What does it matter?
Life is easier when you have the underlying trend at your back.
I couldn't agree more. And all year, the stock market has continued to deteriorate and getting worse all year. So you can fight that if you want, or you can recognize that the market has been getting worse all year.
I don't know.
That is the trend.
We use that word
that you're mentioning is the worst it's been all year. In fact, when you zoom out and look at 3 years, it's done nothing.
It's not a year.
It's a piece of crap in a tech industry that the bond market is crashing in every day. That's not good for tech stocks.
I feel like I don't know you anymore.
When the bond market stops crashing and your tech stocks stop making new lows, then maybe I'll look to buy some. How about that? Is that a deal?
I know, Dan. I know. Wow.
Who's Dan? Who's Dan? Oh,
in the chat, yeah. No, I thought we were all kumbaya yesterday. What happened to yesterday?
Kumbaya about what?
He was down for a risk reversal yesterday. Now crazy JC's back to crazy town.
First of all, I was interested in a risk reversal, but there's zero fucking chance I'm putting on a risk reversal in Apple a week before they report earnings. Why on earth would I be short naked puts in a stock that's about to report earnings when its brothers and sisters like Meta are incinerating $200 billion in seconds? And why am I going to? That's no way. That's irresponsible.
You can't even get any sympathy selling in Apple because it has nothing to do with them.
Great. I'm not short Apple. I hope it goes to the moon. I hope it goes to 1 million.
You know what I love about Apple right now, guys? All the Mag 7s and friends down the cap scale, they've already pulled their AI card. They've shown their hand. They talk about AI. They say that word or acronym 100 times on their earnings call. How many times has Apple ever said AI? Anybody know?
I mean, they talked about it last quarter, last few quarters. They talked about it.
Last earnings call, I believe they didn't even mention it. I think it wasn't
Really?
Q&A.
Oh, we can look. Yeah.
So
All right.
they haven't pulled it out of the bag at all yet. They're still sitting on it, right?
Where's Sean? Are we bringing in Sean? Where's Sean?
Sean's supposed to be going on a hike or something.
Or Spencer
Oh, yeah,
on the annual event. You know, Apple's going to come out and they're going to unveil their big AI plans. And you think the stock's going to go down or not go up on that? They haven't even gone there yet. Nobody even knows what their plan is for artificial intelligence.
Who gives a shit?
No, that's a catalyst.
The whole AI thing's a scam.
Smart.
It's a
Tim
scam.
Cook is really good. Just fantastic.
John's
Boy,
going
I
to
think
Redwood
it's
National Forest or something of that nature.
Yeah,
Josh always uses funny names when they do their videos. You see that, JC? We should start doing that. You know what I'm talking about? Josh and Michael?
We can change our names right now.
So he was yesterday, he was Tim Cooked. Tim Cooked. Get it?
Here.
Yep.
I'll change my
Apple. Printing the top. Tim Cooked. Earnings a week away. JC's scared to sell the puts.
Yes, I'm scared to sell the puts a week into earnings. Yes.
Scared to sell.
I am scared to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, just like I'm scared to operate a chainsaw. It's not the risk reward is just not there. I'd rather pay. Dude, I got this crew of Dominican dudes that come in with their chainsaw, $20 an hour. I will don't repeat this, but I would pay them double that easily for me to not have to operate a chainsaw. If I operate a chainsaw, what am I going to do? Save $20 an hour and potentially cut my leg off? It's not worth it to sell naked puts in Apple to collect $2 to freaking blow up my entire portfolio. No thanks. No thanks. It's the same idea. No thanks.
We'll talk about it next week. The report will probably be a snooze fest, but I think the risk is to the upside.
You're right. I couldn't agree more. The report will probably be a snooze fest. I'm probably being too conservative, and it's probably going higher. How about I agree with all that? And I'm still not doing anything about it.
Yeah, Larry, I think you could do stuff like that in this environment, right? Not all environments, but you want to YOLO some calls in a stock like this that's off, 20%? How much is Apple even down from its highs?
But why would you YOLO calls when volatility is so expensive? That doesn't make any sense. You're going to pay so much for these calls.
Look, I sold
even if you're right, you're still going to lose money.
They're not that expensive, though. I don't know how expensive they really are. I haven't seen the implied.
All that juice is going to get squeezed out after earnings. And if you're long volatility in that environment, you could be right in the direction and still get smoked.
No, but I'm short puts.
Oh.
And long calls.
I like to trade. I like to trade, and I even said it yesterday. If it wasn't for earnings next week, I like to trade. But since they have earnings next week, I'm out.
Listen,
we put on an Iron Condor and Nvidia yesterday. I like that 10 million times better.
That's the safest trade I think we've ever put on. It's so boring, but I love it. But I get you. You're doing the responsible thing. You have kids. I understand.
For the record, I have a portfolio where I'm long Apple in. I can tell you how many shares I own right now if you want.
I love this. Just muddy the waters some more. Jesus Christ.
Is he long? Is he short? Is he both? Who knows? Yes. The answer to those questions are yes.
I have long-term portfolioos. Obviously.
And one kid's college fund were long Apple, and my other ones were long puts, but in the other one we're doing risk reversals.
Hold on, I'm checking to see. Yes, I had puts in Apple in one portfolio and have been long in another. Yeah, one.
See, that's what you need to do. You should really manage your kids' college funds differently, right? And see what happens.
I own. You ready?
You'd be like, sorry.
I have 103 shares of Apple. $17,434 worth.
Okay, that's a lot of Apple. But
it's 103 shares.
Okay, good.
I'm in.
No, I know you are, which is why I give you a hard time.
But I'm not going to put on a risk reversal a week before earnings. That's fucking insane to me.
I can't argue more with you on that. I think that's fair. I get you. Yeah. So if they weren't reporting next week, you're in. You're in this trade against the lower bounds all day. That's a pattern you like, and without earnings,
If there was no earnings, I would have put on the risk reversal yesterday. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Fine.
Yes.
Fine. Deal.
Done.
What?
Oh, Knicks. Let's go, Knicks.
You want to know something? If the Celtics blow this, first of all, it'll be hilarious.
Let's go.
So funny. Then Miami plays the 4-5, the winner of the 4-5, which is going to be, just a easy.
And Butler will be back.
It'll be Butler will be back at some point, and it'll be Miami and the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Didn't they play in the semis last year too? Or was
Yeah,
it?
that's when the Knicks got smoked.
Yeah.
We don't.
All right.
Talk about that.
Miami.
No, meet me in New York. I'm not going to Miami for a game. We'll come here in Madison Square Garden.
Why don't you go to Philly?
Miami's not playing Philly.
Yeah, but you can watch the Knicks.
I don't want to watch. I don't give a shit about the Knicks.
No, that's a bummer.
I hate that. Why would I go to Philly to watch it?
Yeah.
I'll show up in my Jimmy Butler jersey. Both fans will hate me.
Yeah, don't do that. Hey, did you see what they did to Madison Square Garden? Nice little refurb. The outside of it. It's got all these fancy new lights. I'll get a picture. I'll drop a picture.
That part of New York City, that 34th Street and 7th Avenue is really lovely this time of year. The smell is the smell of
whatever
urine and throw up and garbage all in one with a little bit of
JC, did you ever stay at the Hotel Pennsylvania across the street?
No, why would I do that?
I almost did once.
No, don't do that. That's where Fidel Castro used to stay when he would come to New York. You know that?
Oh man, that place it's gone now. But oh boy, the roaches are not. I can assure you that.
Gone?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh? She had to go.
Anyway, hey, you know what's getting smoked today is Harley Davidson. Down
more consumer discretionary getting smoked. I can't believe it.
I hate motorcycles.
Yeah, but best ticker on Wall Street. All right, should we do some recess and get out of here?
It is one of the best tickers on Wall Street.
Yeah. Run it.
Hit it.
The other Chrissy Cuban.
I just want to give a shout out to all the killers out there. All the players and the hustlers. No, sometimes you need a killer on your team. You need it. The Celtics, honestly, Strazza, you'll like this. Jaylen Brown seems to be more of a killer on that team.
Yeah.
And he's inconsistent, but if there's a killer on that team, I think it's Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
But I think Tatum needs to be that killer for Boston to have a chance. We haven't seen it out of him. I like the guy personally. I hope it comes out. Maybe not against Miami, but I hope I'm rooting for him. I don't got any beef with him at all. Honestly, beef with the city of Boston more than anything else.
Like you said, he's super polished, very skilled player. But I don't know if this is something that's acquired, right? Like the killer instinct. It's something that's just inside these guys. I don't know if it's going to come out now, right? Halfway through his career. So we'll see.
You have a point. You would have seen some of it by now, you'd think, right?
You have it or you don't. Yeah,
maybe.
Throw up the new guy. It looks beautiful.
Oh yeah, here. So I guess what are these new lights? Is that what these are?
They just did stuff to the outside. Yeah.
Cool. Speaking of sports, shout out to the city of Detroit. Ready for its close up today, hosting the NFL draft. I'm a little bit jealous. I don't live there anymore, but I lived there or around there for 7 years, and I wish I was there right now. I'm sure they're going to put on a good show. They're ready for it.
Detroit.
Oh, it's all in a different location.
The last couple years, in Radio City back in the day. I went a few times.
That's cool.
Yeah. The draft is being held literally right outside of my old office. Very jelly, but good for Detroit, man. Love that place.
Very jelly.
Yeah, I like Detroit. I've had good times there. Greektown, shout out Greektown, good eats.
Shout out Greektown. Shout out Mexican Town. Yeah, man, so many good towns.
They got one of those there. They got a Mexican Town.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah. They do not have a good. They don't have a large Asian population, so there's no good Asian food.
Italian would probably do pretty well too, right?
Italian?
Yeah.
It's. I mean, compared to what I'm used to, no.
All right.
Right, but
so Greeks
and
Mexicans.
The Greek food, but the Middle Eastern food. Oh boy.
Really?
Oh, dude, because Dearborn, where Ford is headquartered, the next town over is all Middle Eastern. So
isn't there a lot of people from Iran in that area?
So
they're Iraqi. They're Iraqi
They're Iraqi.
Christians. They're called Chaldeans. We
Okay.
don't have those in New Jersey, but
no.
yeah.
So I think I have a confession to make. I haven't been eating enough Greek food or really Mediterranean food. And JC and I made a discovery when we were eating lunch with Rob a few weeks ago. What is the what's the decision we made about what you can call Mediterranean food? It has to have falafel on the menu, right? And be in the Mediterranean Sea.
It's Eastern Mediterranean is what Mediterranean food is, because technically Spain is in the Mediterranean, the south of France is in the Mediterranean, Africa, like you have a Mediterranean Sea is a big body, is my favorite body of water in the world.
Right.
But Mediterranean food is Eastern.
Right. It's not Spanish, it's not Italian, it's not French. They have their own cuisines, but there should be hummus, falafel, both, right?
Yeah.
Israeli. What was the restaurant we went to? That was Israeli, right? That hummus was like, wow.
This place was bomb, dude. This was in
good.
Brickell, 4th floor. It was awesome. Yeah, the place was great.
All right.
I actually think falafel, as a general rule, is wildly overrated, but that's my own thing.
You fry anything like that, and I'm in. But I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's just
All right. Cool. All right, that'll be a wrap here. It's Thursday, so we're doing Chart Request live at 1 o'clock. Send your emails to the inbox, questions at stockmarketmedia.com. Steve and Pat will answer them on the show. Thanks to our guest, Frances Horodelski. We had somebody request that she gets a regular spot. I don't know about that, but see what I can do. And that's it. Check out all the links, all of our free and premium research in the description below on YouTube, our crypto stuff, our option stuff, the hot corner, the chart report. It's all there. Go make some money. Do what you do. We'll see you tomorrow.
Adios.